Talk, fam. Exactly. Where the facts be. I'm speaking right here, so don't at me. Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back in studio, Mykell.
Hey.
You do not seem energetic at all.
Hey, man, I'm always excited to be on the mic, man. This is what I do.
You spent too much time looking at Pornhub again last night.
Never.
Damn people. I'm so sorry. But guys,
crazy, man.
The latest episode of Don't At Me. We are on a roll right now. Clipper Darrell, Rob Parker, Tony Lyrics, and now we are welcomed in studio by the man himself who just dropped one of the greatest videos of this year. Go check it out if you have the opportunity. But
Greatest tracks of
greatest
this
track
year,
too.
Man.
So without further ado, Glasses Malone.
West Coast legend, man. What's up, man?
What's happening, man? Just chilling, man. What's the deal?
Hey, chilling, man. We having fun. Don't at me. Welcome. This is our second time working together, man. He was with us on our other show, Courtside Radio.
Yeah.
So, man, it's all love. So we got to talk about it. The big thing that everybody is talking about is Tupac must die. Where did it come from? Like, what made you like, I want to tell this story. I want to do it from this guy's, perspective, and the world needs to hear this right now. And I'm going to give you visuals for it.
Honestly, it's just from the streets. Like, hip hop is all about the streets perspective.
Yep.
Tupac, right now, when I grew up listening to Tupac, you know what I mean? He was a hip hop artist. I was able to go along with him on his journey, so I knew what it was like coming from where he came from. But over the last 20 years, obviously, he's ascended past that, and he became such a mainstream staple. Like, you could walk into any house in America and probably play Dear Mama. So his death,
True.
On USA, the news, there's movies and films being made about it, is a very mainstream thing. It doesn't belong to just the culture of hip hop anymore. So I wanted to make sure, no matter what I did while working on the story, I addressed it from the street side of the story. And it was just a take that I thought was dope. The video was inspired by Joyner Lucas, like how he shot his videos.
That's dope.
But for the most part, it was just the same story of trying to educate people on the mentality of gang members, the poverty, the pressure, you know what I'm saying? The misguided aggression, you know what I'm saying? The hopelessness in it, you know what I mean, that makes you retaliate and makes you have, like the thing that people are scared of most. That whole feel of like, yeah, I'm gonna do something to you if you embarrass me publicly, if you jump on me with 7 guys, I don't care who you are, I'm gonna get even.
So then let me ask you this. Was the goal of the music video to explain the motives behind what led to Tupac's death, or was it to just showcase the entire experience from the shooter's perspective?
Well, because it wasn't like he was just a shooter. It was a situation happened where a regular human being, was violated that come from the culture that we come from.
True.
And, you respond the way you know how, the best you know how. And you protect your reputation at all costs because that's all you have.
Yeah.
You may be getting some street money. You might got $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, but your reputation is worth millions to you when you come from that background. So the experience itself was to give people everything. I wanted you to become Orlando Anderson. I wanted to humanize who he was. I felt like for years people referred to him as a hater or broke or demonized. And it's like, no, these dudes are in Vegas at the Mike Tyson fight. These dudes is getting money. They in brand new rental cars. And they didn't need to take anything from anybody. It's just, our culture in the streets is, a very competitive one. You know what I'm saying? And people fight. And sometimes things go too far and, it gets out of hand. So the goal of the experience was really, to me, the third verse is everything in the song, where you could kind of hear the pressure he's under, the embarrassment, the scrutiny, the going back and forth in your own mind, you know what I mean, about wanting to avenge a certain situation,
like
get justice.
The angel and devil on your shoulder conversation.
Because I know Orlando came out in interviews like shortly after it, and was saying like, I was a Tupac fan, and I truly believe that he was a Tupac fan.
Hands down, him and
yeah,
like I said, Dre was my man from South, rest in peace, and they were who the fuck is not a Tupac fan?
yes.
See, that's what I was also getting at, was like, from okay, so coming from my perspective and like who I am, right? I didn't grow up in the era where I was like coming up while these guys were also making it big. It was after the fact.
Yeah.
So like reading about this, reading about the musician, learning about the musician, listening to all the music, and like you mentioned, like Dear Mama, like my mom had never heard that song, and then years ago in high school on Mother's Day, I played that for her, and it meant that much more. It goes to show what you're saying is true.
Pac is that kind of guy.
And like, the one thing that we were talking about before the show is that everyone wants to think there's a conspiracy behind almost everything. You hear that there's a conspiracy behind Biggie's murder. You hear there's a conspiracy behind Tupac's murder, whether it's cops that covered it up.
Nipsey as well. It's always people trying to make it a conspiracy, where it's like, man, sometimes it's just hood things, that stuff that happened in the hood that a lot of like outside world won't understand because they're not around it. But when you're around it, you just know, like, man, that's how that happened. And people are like flabbergasted of like, no, it can't be this. Where it's like, dog, that's all it was. And people try to overthink it, but it's no overthinking to be done.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, with this video, it gave an insight and perspective that someone who didn't grow up in the community or didn't really know about what was going on wouldn't understand. Like, as easy as it said, like, I used to think that there was a conspiracy around Tupac's death. And then you read about things, you hear about what Keefe D has said as of late and all the stuff that's come out. Like, it's just, we by people like myself, mainstream people don't understand what goes on in a community and how that reverberates.
And that's what hip hop supposed to do.
Yeah,
hip hop is supposed to inform the mainstream of what's going on inside this very small group of this very small community. That's what it's supposed to explain. I don't think it's been doing that a lot lately with certain artists. I think most of these artists are rapping very mainstream concepts.
True.
They're looking at CNN and they're writing songs about what's going on CNN, and it's like nobody's getting a different insight on what's going on in that said community. Like when I first grew up, I listened to Jay-Z. It took you to Marcy. When I listened to Juvenile, it took me to the Magnolia Project.
Magnolia,
you know what I'm saying? When I listened to any of these guys, it took me somewhere that I'd never been before. Hip hop should inform you. I didn't know people were saying "son" in New York. You don't know that until you hear it in rap.
True.
And I feel like hip hop at its best takes you somewhere that you never could imagine going. And that was the goal for this song, to make you a victim of gang banging, period. Like, I feel like I've been trying to get this message across for 12 years about the pressures and scrutiny and just the overall overwhelming, essence that is gangbanging. The things it will have you doing and make you respond. How being poor makes you protect your reputation with everything inside of you, because that's the only way you can. That's who you are at that point.
True.
Yeah.
If somebody steals your car, it's not. You can't even buy another car.
You gotta go get it back.
It's your only car, so I got to do something to you so other people don't think they could just take my car.
Yeah.
So the point was to let the mainstream in on, the lifestyle, and also to humanize Orlando Anderson. And again, it wasn't to demonize Tupac. Like I think people are thinking that, and it's like, I don't think he did anything that was demon-like. I think he stood up for his friend, and shit happens where we from like that. So, but it was definitely, the goal was to humanize Orlando Anderson. Like, I felt like Baby Lane never got a fair shot, and it's so many different rumors about them being paid to do this. So now he looks like a professional hitman, and I don't think none of that is what it is.
He's just a human.
He's just a human being who got violated, publicly, and felt the pressures to retaliate and get his masculinity back. It's a very tight rope we walk.
Man, I'm so happy that you were actually able to take that chance, because nowadays, like you said, a lot of artists don't try to take that chance with their music. They play it safe, and you're just reaching out with storytelling, which a lot of artists don't really do anymore. I don't know if it's because of Atlanta or anything, but I just know that the art of storytelling isn't there in a lot of hip hop. And I think that, man, you're doing a big thing with this song to kind of bring that back, because, man, you need it. Like you said, like NWA used to always say, like, we are the news for the streets, you know.
That's what it is.
You know, and we're giving it out, and that's what you're doing.
And it's funny because the information is out there. I mean, in the films, it talks about who, you know, what happened with Tupac. In the documentaries, it talks about what happened to Tupac. The police know what happens with Tupac. But like Farrakhan say, one good rap is worth 1,000 sermons.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So rapping it now, people really know. Hopefully it brings a level of closure to where it's like.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You know what I'm
like
saying?
this serves as something that not only like wraps up everything, but it also gives you the perspective of the person that, like pointed out earlier when I said the shooter, right? He's not just a shooter. He's a human with a story that hasn't been told.
Yeah.
True.
And to me, it's actually been told, but I don't think it was ever told with like compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was
'Cause
always
everybody
told.
tried to
Everybody's
demonize him.
compassionate for Tupac's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
such a icon in music passing away. You know, you're compassionate towards that, how he affected your life, but you're not compassionate to this other person who, like I said, like I continuously say, who was a son, a brother, a friend, a father. You know,
It's somebody something.
Yeah.
And so again, it's like, you know, good hip hop should really put you somewhere you've never been.
True.
Yeah.
You know, and for this situation, you were a friend in the backseat of a car going to Vegas excited about a fight. You were a friend standing up and being a titan, you know, representing your neighborhood against rival neighborhoods.
Yeah.
You were a friend at a fight, you know what I mean, with your partners, and you know, you're a man trying to find a woman to validate, you know, masculinity.
True.
You know, you're a victim of a brutal assault where, you know, a rap icon and 7 of your enemies, or theoretically your enemies from a neighborhood, are trying to knock your head off and kick your face in, you know.
Not to mention publicly.
Yeah, publicly on camera, like, you know what I'm saying? And you're now a homie who is feeling the pressure from your friends of like retaliating and not standing for it. This is you as the viewer. You know what I mean? You're all of that. You're the one now trying to figure out what you should do.
True.
You know, you're the one having second thoughts, so you drinking a little bit more to find the courage needed to get your, you know, what you feel your masculinity back. That was the goal of the video.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Fine.
And when it's said and done, to feel accomplished, but it's messed up that it comes at the hand of such a rap icon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now everybody cares about the story because that's what makes gangbanging work. When somebody you love die, you become irrational.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, you're not in a place where the setup is to go to the police to allow them to take justice. No, we don't believe in them.
Yeah, no.
You know, bringing justice for us. So
you take justice in your own hands.
yeah, and you get your justice.
Yeah.
So that was my goal for the mainstream, to have that experience. I wanted them to have that experience. I wanted them to know. And now they know what it's like, what propels you or me as a gang member to go out and retaliate.
True.
You know, something that you think is so, you know, demon and villain is very much just justice in our eyes where we come from.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's just a normal human emotion.
Yeah,
Especially
sure.
where you're conditioned
Especially
to feel
in
that way.
Yeah, in the
Mhm.
city. So, man, this song got you everywhere, man. Like 92.3. You was just coming from New York. You was out there at the Breakfast Club, man. How was that? Like,
It's my third time. What's funny is people like I seen the homie Young Noble from the Outlaws. You feel me?
Yeah.
I look up to them too, but they pretty upset at me. But it's like he was saying like, yeah, well, this got you on the Breakfast Club. Like, yo, bro, this like my third time.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
never cared. Like,
yeah.
you just never gave a fuck.
Man.
Like, I respect you. Only give a fuck now because it's because of your, you know, your mentor. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I respect that, but
It hit home.
it's disrespectful to constantly, you know, again, make my talent about this specific thing. But then again, this represents my talent as a storyteller, as somebody that could bring a story to real life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I take it all in stride, and it's cool. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Breakfast Club. Shout out to Charlamagne Envy. And Angie wasn't there, but she's the homegirl and cool. And, you know, I just kept it liberal. I just kept it straight up. Like, I'm done holding back in the industry.
No, yeah. Oh, man, I think you did a great job because you was letting it be known. Like, you weren't holding anything back, like you said. You were just giving them the real. So, I mean, I think you did a great job, especially with Charlamagne's craziness.
Yeah.
I don't know how you
Everybody
survived
always say
that.
she is so crazy, and it's like, man, like
He real though.
we have these conversations all the time.
Yeah,
And I appreciate him and Big Boy. Shout out to the homie Big Boy, you feel me, at
Big
the
boy.
real. But it was like, you know, they know me. Like we
Yeah.
talk. So I appreciate them going out of their way to make sure that people saying like Glasses is clout chasing, and it's like they like, nah, I know this dude. That's not his style. If he's saying some shit, he believes in it, and it's a reason. He, you know, like Big said, like I done knew him for years, and I had the #1 record at the radio station he worked at 3 separate times between years. I never did his show, and I never asked him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
one of the things I respect about Charlemagne. You know, like he's always in the media for being either criticized for saying something that people think is going too far, or getting called out by someone on his show.
Yeah.
And yet he doesn't back down. He stays firm on his opinion. He gives it to you, and he gives you a fair shot to talk about things on a platform.
It's funny because he hates Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But he's exactly like Donald Trump. He like, gee, how do you have any compassion for that man? I'm like, bro, because that's what masculinity is all about. Being able to be who you are, stand on who you are, and if everybody else don't agree, you know, kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Now, me, I'm an intelligent person, so you can say something to me and it might alter my thought, and then I'll evolve and my brain goes into another level, and it's like, oh, you're right. I can't accept that. So it kind of makes you a little bit more flexible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I appreciate, like Charlemagne, she stand on his shit. That's why I fuck with him. You know, people can say what they want, but cuz stand on his shit. He stand on it. He meant what he said the first time he said it.
And I think just like how you did with the track is sometimes when you give people too much real, they look at it and they kind of be afraid of it. So that's when they, you know, they get bad takes on you and stuff. So
I don't mind.
like,
shit.
like with Charlemagne, like with you with the track, they just like, oh, this too real. So, you know, we gotta dislike it, and I guess it's just the way that it is. Just like with Donald Trump, he say what he really feel, and whether you like it or not, you gotta respect it because hey, he's letting you know the real. He could be trying to hide stuff and things like that.
Well, I mean, he is considering his taxes, how many
that
wives,
stuff, yeah.
whether or not his kid is his, but you know, you still gotta have some respect.
Yeah,
and you gotta have some private business. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I mean, politics is a whole nother conversation.
Exactly.
And I don't agree with anyone's politics. I was just telling my man on the way here, shout out to the homie Trash.
Yeah.
But I was just telling my boy on the way here, all I care about in this election is reparations.
Matter of fact.
He was telling me about Andrew Yang. He was like, yeah, you know, he's talking about AI and, you know, how artificial intelligence, which I understand, is taking the jobs. And to be honest, like, I might have been a little bit more emotional. I told him I don't give a fuck. But in real life, I don't even go to self-checkout lines. So, because I understand that. But at this point in time, I'm so emotionally bothered and concerned with black people getting one thing in this country that's just the only thing I care about.
Facts.
And I'm like probably the least kind of person to really trip off that. But I just want to see brothers get something one time. Not something for everybody. You know, affirmative action was for everybody.
Yeah,
white
true.
women got affirmative action because they are part of the minority. Section 8, everybody.
Welfare.
Can we just get one thing for this shit? Just one, just 40 acres. You know, fuck
40
it. Just
acres.
one thing.
That's all we waiting for.
Well, I mean, the way to look at it is if we as Americans are going to take this land away from Native Americans, and
they got
they
chipped
got
off.
stuff, yeah.
they got screwed over, and they got reservations.
And they got it was
still,
called as they got a crappy deal, but they got a deal.
Yeah,
they got
true.
something.
Like, can we get one
Something.
thing?
Damn.
Just one thing, you know. And so the only candidate I care about in this election is somebody that's gonna give us one thing.
I feel it, and I love the take that
Just one thing.
I love a take that you had on the Breakfast Club, the Snoop Dogg thing.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people, and I'm just like, see, I think they just didn't understand what you were saying, and they didn't understand the scene of hip hop. Because of course Pac was still a big name, you know what I'm saying? He was
a
doing
star.
Yeah, he was doing movies and all that stuff.
He was everywhere.
He was in jail with a #1 album, Me Against the World. But Snoop Dogg was the star of Chronic, and then he just dropped Doggy Style. So at that time, he was the man of hip hop, and people don't understand that. So can you talk more on it?
It's not even remotely close between pre-Death Row Tupac is not as big as Snoop Dogg.
Facts.
That's just silly.
Yeah.
But again, you know, people don't really understand how big. To this day, people don't understand how big Snoop Dogg really is. Like, hip hop went like this, right? Hip hop was a very urban thing, right? It started off as being music for just us, right? And we would jam to it at the party. Started off in New York, and then we got our own, and it became something just for us. But as it went into mainstream homes, there are 3 certain rappers who took it hip hop into mainstream homes, right? LL Cool J in the 80s took it into mainstream homes. You know, don't get me wrong, Run DMC had the song with Aerosmith, but it became a rock song. It wasn't even a hip hop song.
It was different.
Yeah, it wasn't even that. So LL took rap into 2-3 million mainstream homes in the 80s.
True.
The next person is Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg took hip hop into 5 million mainstream homes.
I'd argue that Wu-Tang Clan also had a major part of that in the 80s.
Not like Snoop,
Not
because
like
Snoop
Dogg.
attacked the radio. His first album is still top 10 for most sales for a debut album. And think about it. Gin and Juice, the fact that he was smoking all that chronic, like he started a wave.
But you know what it is Snoop represented a culture in Los Angeles that would become probably the biggest culture across the world.
Facts.
And he was the centerpiece of it.
Yeah.
He became the first gangbanger to be successful in music and representing his gang.
But I think also part of that goes with like me making that comment about Wu-Tang, right?
Yeah.
That shows that my generation clearly doesn't understand it.
And what's funny is Wu-Tang has aged like wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Wu-Tang was a very urban thing, like a very New York thing.
Yeah.
But over time, like as I see them at festivals, it is so many more people than black people there for them.
Yeah.
Like it is white,
Crazy, huh?
like
everywhere.
Chinese, Japanese, everybody. So that
did
wasn't what it was.
drafted.
Yeah, they got drafted by.
That wasn't what it was in the 90s.
Yeah, true.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
No, in
my
real time,
generation
sure.
doesn't know. Like, we just know about looking at it after the fact, reading the books,
Hindsight.
listening to music.
But it's not even just y'all. It's older people who act like they don't remember what actually Snoop represented. Like I said, it was 3 rappers specifically that took hip hop into mainstream homes. You know, at very impactful rates.
Yeah.
You know, so you got one LL, right? He took it to one level.
Yeah.
Snoop took it to the next level. Eminem took it to the final level.
Yeah.
True.
So again, it's like that's just real time. That's not about in hindsight. In hindsight, it'd be a whole different conversation.
That's what I'm getting at. That's
yeah.
all I can talk about is hindsight, because all I have to do is to read, to look at, to listen to music, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't there living through it, so I can't give you an accurate depiction.
I was
of
born in '89, so when all of that was going on, you know.
So you was little too.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
young,
old
but
man.
we was listening to, you know, but that's all we listened to was
What's crazy?
Snoop.
I'm glad you
and all
brought
them
that up,
dudes,
and not
yeah.
to cut you off, but
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, dog. Like, it's crazy that Wu-Tang has aged like wine, like yak.
Yeah, for real.
Like, nigga, Wu-Tang really has gotten bigger over the years.
Because in the
look what
90s in
they're
LA,
doing.
we weren't talking about them. Like, we were talking about
only
Biggie.
the homie Alcatraz was the only one talking about Wu-Tang. Like, Wu-Tang wasn't really a Los Angeles thing. They had fans, but like that was like the underground
hip-hop.
and
That's
it was
how we looked at
successful at the mainstream level. The funny part is songs like Cream. I remember hearing Cream.
Yeah, on the radio.
And I remember
that
Method
too.
Man, and I remember the Purple Tape with Ray. So, but it was like different, dog. It has gotten bigger and bigger. Like, I honestly believe in my heart, Wu-Tang could probably do the Forum here.
Yeah,
No,
I agree
yeah,
with that.
they can.
Well, I think
Method
part
Man,
of that,
Raekwon, all them.
but look at all
Sure.
what each one of those guys has done. Each one of them had a career of their own, whether it was successful or not, in music. Then they also went into acting. Then you also have guys doing production. And then just recently you heard about that album that Shkreli bought that was unreleased, right?
Yeah.
So they've maintained a level of spotlight over the years.
And then that brings me back to Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Whereas like Snoop Dogg is the only rapper, like Snoop Dogg is probably the most recognizable rapper in the history of rap. He is rap music. And again, like, people was taking that as some kind of disrespect to Tupac, and it's like, nah, dog. It's like, just because Snoop is that don't mean Tupac isn't what he is. You know, Snoop Dogg is recognizable by a white kid that's 8 or a black kid that's 8 to a white lady that's 80.
Facts, yeah.
He is a total different anomaly in hip hop. He is very one of one, you know, like what he's been able to do with rap, what he represented, you know what I'm saying? He brought in, it's just a different level of it. And again, Tupac's smartest thing was he understood Snoop had that kind of light. He understood Snoop had that kind of light. He knew it. And so if he brought what he brought to the table in that light, sharing that light, it was game over. And it was game over. But you got to think, Tupac got out of prison in around October of 95.
Yeah.
He released the album in, February and died in September. So we're talking about, less than a year.
Yeah, so
You know
he
what I mean?
couldn't really
So-
do everything he wanted to.
No, and again, like he was successful beyond, in that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But again, that should tell you the power of, and it's not to disregard him, what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, dog, like Snoop came out and sold 5 million. No rapper had did that.
Yeah.
True.
Not 5 times
He
platinum.
broke records.
He
And
sold
set a
5
standard.
million,
5
right? He
million.
set this next level standard, right? And then he put out Murder Was the Case.
Yeah.
That did 3 million. If people don't want to, hear that because they think if you say that, then it's a discredit to Tupac, then that's the problem.
But that's also a part of like people putting Tupac on a pedestal with everything that happened to him. The way how his life was cut short.
Oh man,
and the way
tragically, yes.
Yeah.
Him dying tragically, like
Same-
his
same
brand.
with- what you feel about? I think it's the same with Big too.
That's the same. That's what I was
As
going
far
to
as
get
their
to. Like
brands.
these guys were blowing up. Their lives were cut short at the prime of their careers, right at the start. Like the sun was starting to rise,
Yeah.
and they got taken away from us so abruptly, and that also impacts their legacy and ups their game. Like look,
Yeah.
in the look in rock and roll, you have like Leonard Skinner or Sublime, right? Sublime's the perfect example.
That's in Long Beach, right?
Yeah.
Sublime, yeah.
Sublime from Long Beach. Their lead singer passed away, right? I think it was after their second or third album. And as soon as that happened, my sister had Sublime posters all over her wall growing up, right, as a kid. Sublime, Marilyn Manson, Tupac, Biggie, all those guys. She would nonstop listen to Sublime. Their first 2 albums blew up. They still blow up. Everyone
Yeah, they
knows
call
bad
themselves
shit.
the Long Beach Dubs All Stars or Long Beach All Stars now, right?
Yeah. And like they brought in a new singer who sounds exactly like the old guy, mind you, right? But they blew up partially because they had a story that went with them. The same thing with Nirvana and how
Yeah,
Kurt
Kurt
Cobain
Cobain,
went down.
yeah.
Like they were blowing up, but they went to another level.
Listen, it's nothing more marketable than death.
Yeah.
Facts, yeah.
Look, Prince's music,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
It's nothing more
Elvis.
marketable. Nothing is more marketable than dying. Marketing is the greatest. Like people love to report on when you die. Like Slim 400, for example, he had got shot like 8 or 9 times, really bad in
Yeah.
Compton.
That was crazy.
He had none of his music had ever been on TMZ. They had never talked about it on TMZ. Now they're talking about him on TMZ.
Which is wild.
For me,
yeah.
it almost took him to lose his life for him to get any kind of notoriety from the mainstream,
True.
Yeah.
from the biggest urban mainstream outlet there was.
Because look at what Nipsey, how
Yeah, I was about to
Nipsey
say that.
is
too.
just, man, everywhere. You didn't know that many people knew who Nipsey was until, he passed away.
Before we even talk about, let's say, Nip or somebody, it's Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus could
Yeah.
not have been
True.
a really loved and respected.
If he'd have lived 100 years.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for people to be able to, for the town, for the empire that is Rome to be able to hang Jesus from a cross, feel me, and him to hang up there for days, and nobody come risk their freedom to take him down. Niggas couldn't have been fucking with him like that.
Facts.
Feel me? But
Yeah.
now,
He's idolized.
you're talking about 2,000 years later,
Yeah.
he's the man.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? It happens. Death is the greatest, and Lord knows if you have a marketing team behind your death, you feel me? It just changes everything. So,
Help sells you.
and that's again, it's not to discredit Tupac. Tupac was going crazy in the 9 months he was, since he had released All Eyes on Me to his untimely demise. You feel me? He was killing. He was 5 times. Well, he went 5 times platinum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He sold. He was 5 times platinum. He was doing incredible. You know what I'm saying? And it just, that's how it happened. But when he passed away, it just took his brand to the final level, I call it.
Whole nother
Yeah,
level.
I mean you saw the same thing kind of with the Beatles back in the 60s.
Yeah,
Like there were those
yeah.
rumors that Paul had died, right? And that they replaced him with a clone. He had to come out publicly say that he did not die after Sgt.
Wow,
Pepper's,
dog.
right? No, and that was one of the best marketing stunts because although, look, everyone can recognize the Beatles were music in the 60s, right? Like they helped define music to this day. There are still roots that can be traced to music right now that are linked back to them, right?
Motown was popping too.
No, but you know what I mean? Like when you think of the 60s, one of the first groups that you
I think
think
that's
of.
more of a mainstream.
Yeah, that's
No, but you know what I mean? When you think of 60s
Sure, the
music,
Beatles, yeah, the
you think
Beatles,
of the Beatles,
the Beatles.
Beach Boys,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Doors, but usually the
Sure,
first
in the
group you
mainstream.
think of
Yeah,
is
it's
the Beatles.
When you
know?
start talking about white successful groups in the 60s, you're definitely going to think of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like one of the best marketing stunts wasn't even their rumor, their thing. they got it because someone happened to listen to a record backwards that said Paul is dead.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they thought, oh my God, Paul McCartney is dead. They replaced him with a clone.
Yeah, so that's insane.
And that was marketing in and of itself.
Yeah.
Death is the greatest marketing. There's
Yeah.
nothing greater than death. Like
True.
death is the, like life is the best thing. Death is the greatest thing. You know what I mean? That's the end of the mission. So
True.
And look at Aunt Mason and the Biggie story that came out.
yeah,
Yeah,
It took 20 years for that to come out.
yeah, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But again, like, you know, that's where we at. You know what I'm saying? Like you death is it. Death, when you die, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody gonna give you your little flowers that day. I mean,
people
if
got
you
you
didn't
on
get your
shirts
flyer,
and all that.
yeah, you ain't gonna never be on too many people's shirts
Yeah.
before that. But the
Yeah,
day you
true.
die, feel me?
You all over.
I saw this
be a
photo
people's shirt.
a while back that showed a coffin, right?
Yeah.
And over it just said, now I'm famous.
Which is-
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
deep.
yeah, yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
So, Glasses, love the work, man. The
Appreciate
track is
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
When the album's coming out, man, you
I ain't worried about. I
You
ain't
worried-
even think about no album.
ain't thinking about no album right now?
Nah, man. Every moment is special in hip hop.
Man,
like,
facts. I
Right
agree.
now, I impacted the culture. You know what
you
I'm saying?
did.
Like I've impacted West Coast hip hop,
Yeah.
but to impact all of hip hop culture, you know, this was like a big thing to me. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
To finally have your message, like I've been telling this message for 12 years professionally. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the mentality in gangbanging, the somber side, no glory in it. You know, everybody else is talking about gang members at a party or pulling girls or getting
True.
pussy or, you know, this, that, and the third. My shit has always been like, you know, the pain and the suffering and the agony in it. So to finally have my message be spread across, you know, the world that is hip hop, you know, that's what the goal was. It wasn't about promoting an album. It wasn't about nothing. And I think my whole motto has changed at this point to where it's like, where it's changed, it's like every moment is its own moment. You
True.
feel me? Like
I agree.
I don't want hip hop fans to always be like, oh, G doing this because of this is next. It's like, no, I did this because this is what this is. You feel
Yeah.
me?
Man,
Fuck all that.
That's
What's
dope.
next?
Yep.
There are two artists I'd like to see you work with, I have to say.
Yeah, who was that?
Two. One would be J. Cole, because both of you keep it real on your lyrics. You guys both are
That'll
level.
be dope.
I'd like that. And then honestly, the other one is kind of surprising. I'd like to see you work with Schoolboy Q.
That's funny. Q is my man. Like,
No, hey, that picture is classic with all of you guys.
yeah,
Oh,
that was
man.
crazy.
Sitting at the table.
Yo,
like-
you see how hungry niggas look? Like, funny is, who would have knew Q was gonna be like rap superstar? Like, if you see the
Man,
video
for
of
real.
Kendrick in that picture, he almost looked malnourished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
facts.
what I mean? Like he was so fucking young. He was
Yeah.
like, feel me? So that was all of us. You know what I mean? That was the real New West movement. And people
Hey,
didn't know.
no lie, you are the, you know, because I listen to all them guys. Like Musa, that's my guy.
Yeah, most of
So yeah, Musa my guy. So when we used to just like when TDE was first getting it going, and you know, of course we was listening to you know Game was doing his thing.
Sure.
So it's like you forever had that attached to you. Like this is the OG. Like when you know I just would hear conversations with them talking. They
What's
always
funny
say
is,
that
man,
love.
so TDE, like, right? You got to think, like, I heard who Dude Dog was before we ever, like, we met before, but he probably won't remember because I was a real young nigga. But, like, I remember when he started it and he reached out. Like, I was starting to make noise in the city. He was like, man, I got this artist from the Nickerson. His name is J-Rock.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit,
Damn.
whatever you need, like, I'm going to come do it. You feel me? And we was both starting, but I had White Lightning out a year early.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't care who it was rapping over there. He was like, well, could you get on this person's song? Yup. Can you get on this person's song? Yup.
You were about it.
Because it was Dude. It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this was like a watch icon to me, whether he knew it or not. It was like, yeah, you know, you heard a Dude Dog. You know,
Yeah.
It's like right now, you know, whoever called me, like if Big U called me, G, would you do? Yup. Certain icons in the streets who came up before me, Dale Dog, would you? Yup.
You always show the
It's
respect.
never going, because I love it. Like,
Yeah.
like they survived what I've been trying to survive for years. So to watch Q, to watch K Dot, to watch Absol, to watch J Rock, it's y'all couldn't imagine how, like, you know, honestly, like, moved I'd be all the time to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole nother world to watch them. Like, it's like I feel like I won.
Yeah.
You know,
When
even
you
if I
guys eat,
didn't
you
win,
eat.
yeah, like, and the reality is, you know what I mean? It's like, it's true. That's like with Nip, same thing. Like when he started getting it, I felt like I won. Like I feel like I won. When Problem is successful, I feel like I won, because there's certain people around that our struggles identify exactly time period.
Y'all laid the pavement, like you, Bishop Lamont, like y'all actually.
Mike Stroh, shout out to homie Mikey.
So y'all like laid the pavement to where they pretty much picked up from what y'all were starting and doing.
Well, they were all a part of it, so I can't say that. I would want to think YG and them and Tiger and them became that.
Yeah.
I mean, like Dot, as young as he is, Kendrick compared to I am, like Kendrick is 33 now or something.
Yeah, he's like 32,
somewhere right there. So he's like, but he was there laying bricks.
That
Don't think for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that training
he was
day.
there laying bricks.
Yeah.
This dude was around in 07. He's on my project in 07, 08.
Mm-hmm.
It's a song with me and J-Rock off the electric chair, or was it 2010? I think it was 2010 where it's me, J-Rock, and him. Like, he was laying bricks. He wasn't some dude that benefited from the hard work that all of our generation, but he was laying bricks.
Yeah, because I had that Watts, what is it, Watts? The Volume 1 with J-Rock, where the cover he was sitting on top of the, like he was sitting over the Nickerson. So, man, y'all grind was crazy, dog.
Yeah, and it don't
that
stop,
move,
man.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people so upset at me, you know what I'm saying? And I understand, you know, something that's honest, it hurts.
Yeah, true.
It's like when my friend got killed, it hurt. Somebody I love got killed, it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, hopefully people learn something from it. But if people asking me, like, you know, is this desperation or something? It's like, bro, I'm just good at this shit at this point.
Facts, yeah.
Like, not even arrogantly. Like, if you give your life blood to something every day for 14 years, you know what I'm saying, and you don't never quit. I never stop rhyming. I never stop learning. I never stop picking up. I still listen to the new stuff. I listen to YG. Feel me? I listen to Kaylin. I listen to the newest shit. I'm learning from them.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from Ty. I learned a lot from Joe Moses. I'm a fan of RJ. I'm going to keep learning. You know what I mean? I just was up here just playing A Boogie. Like, I'm going to be good, and I read enough books, and I live enough in these streets, and I never keep myself away from it. So it's going to be hard to beat me. Even if it took me 12 years professionally to get here, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going. I'm going to win because I'm a winner, and I'm going to win. You feel me? Like, it's just certain people just don't. They're not. I'm not going to quit because it's hard. You know, I'm laughing at people feeling like that's an insult to me. Like, oh, you old, or, you know, it's been 10 years and you ain't did nothing with your career. It was like, it took me 10 years to get here.
Yeah, I'm still doing
And look what you're doing. You're letting your
like,
work do the speaking for you.
If it was me, I would be giving props. Like,
Like,
that's how I felt about Lil Wayne. Like, for Lil Wayne started in 98 and he finally had his moment in 2008.
Yeah.
Feel me? Like, I thought that was fantastic. So to hear people talk shit, it's like, you don't realize what I just did.
Yeah.
I beat more odds. Like, beating one set of odds is beating gangbanging and not going to prison, selling drugs and not going to prison. Now rap is like, you have to be 9 or 19. It's like, I'm gonna beat these odds. I'm gonna beat every odd because I'm just competitive like that, and I'm willing to learn what it takes to win. You know what I'm saying? And I never had to compromise myself. Even now, this is a regular gangbanger story for me. It's not regular to you because Tupac's involved. It's regular to me. I tell it, I got killed in my video. Kids got killed in my video. People died because my whole life when I was gangbanging, people died.
True.
So my music reflects the pain and agony of it all. I'm going to win anyway. So it's funny because it's more triumphant. It wouldn't have been as triumphant if I won when I first got in the game because I didn't have no respect for the culture.
Yeah.
I had respect for gangbanging and selling dope. I didn't have respect for hip-hop. Now I do. It just made me learn.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you get time, you get to be humbled by it, and you get to understand it more.
Nothing is better than being humbled.
True.
It's the greatest thing that ever happens to you. I get humbled so much. Looking in the mirror, I get humbled. Looking at that Breakfast Club interview, I realized how fat I was. It's like, damn, nigga, you fat. This shirt tight. Let me go and get on these vegetables tonight.
Yeah.
I love it. I live for it.
Don't worry, the camera adds 10 pounds. Don't worry.
But I'm just saying, like, I love it. I be like, shit, I'm finna
Always
get this motherfucking broccoli and spinach cracking.
always learning.
Yeah.
So before we get up out of here, you know we gotta talk sports, man.
Yeah.
Gotta
That's
talk.
why I came.
Gotta talk some hoop, man. And just how do you feel about pretty much LA is the mecca of sports? I
Let's
was gonna
go,
say
Boston.
basketball, but LA is the mecca of sports because you have Clippers, Lakers, you have the Rams, Chargers, who are both playoff teams, you know, and you have the Dodgers, who has a chance to be back in another World Series. So,
Bro, get to the point. We're talking about the Lakers and the
No, we're
Clippers.
talking about
Talk
Lakers,
about the
Clippers.
basketball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I just how
don't
do you
give-
feel about that? Because you know, at one point, you know, LA wasn't.
I never.
like this,
I don't
but-
remember LA not being good at sports. I'm a Laker.
No, yeah, facts. But so let's get right to it. Lakers, Clippers. Man, I still got the Lakers. I think you have LeBron,
Of course you do.
AD.
So
Kuzma.
wait. You're with me on the Clippers train?
Yeah, it's not.
Man,
Oh my God!
He picked-
Glasses
And
Malone,
I'm a
knowing
diehard.
what
He taught-
hey,
hey,
bro.
he
Oh
taught-
And I'm a
defense,
diehard
man.
Laker. I'm a defensive guy.
no, yeah, I like it.
I said they got the two best two-way players in the NBA. They have Pat Beverly. They have the best starting defensive lineup in the league
And they
with
trying
three
to
players.
make a move on Roberson.
And they managed to get what's his name?
The guy that can't
Patrick
shoot
Patterson.
a jump shot.
If they get Roberson, nobody can score. So this is the way I see it, right? So first off, let me give props to the NBA for all the storylines.
Facts.
The NBA has the best storylines.
The new
in sports.
WWF.
It is like
WWE.
and it's like it's funny because I'm glad you brought WWE up, right? Because
Yeah.
I used to watch wrestling. Feel me? When it was Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, I'm old, man. I'm close to 40. I'm right around the
God
corner.
damn.
So it's like I remember it being active.
Yeah. I was Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
And then I watched your era, and it was just as great, but
Yeah.
it had more storylines.
Yeah.
That's the NBA. Like I
True.
grew up watching Larry Bird and Magic Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
and so I never thought it was going to be better than that. Because the Michael Jordan era was a bit stale. In the
True.
'90s, it was just Jordan,
Because we all knew what was going to happen.
and it wasn't. And Michael Jordan was that dominant, but even in the 2000s, it was kind of it was trying to become more competitive. But to watch it now, it's like you almost don't know what's going to happen.
It's a soap opera, man, for real.
And it's crazy
It
how
really
everybody
is.
is moving. And it's funny because, like I said, Kevin Durant shook it up. You know what I mean? Did
True.
his move.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, I'm impressed. But back to the point, you know what I mean? Golden State is going to finish first.
No.
Oh, man.
No.
What?
Okay, look.
It's a total different
All right, let me give you some
Oh my
let me give you some
God.
facts right now.
It's a
The
totally
Rockets,
different thing.
when Chris Paul was on the court without James Harden, they were actually a better team. If you look at the stats, I remember seeing the win shares. They were. And if you look at Rockets with CP3 versus Rockets with Russ on the court, no Harden, right? What does CP3 have that Russ doesn't? He has a consistent jump shot, a consistent three, and good percentages.
And the best defensive point guard in the NBA last year.
As far
That
as
nobody
far
talks
as
about.
smarts, he
Wait.
uses smarts to defend.
Wait. What did you say?
What
He
about
was
Pat
rated
Bev?
as the best defensive point guard in the NBA last
Chris
year.
Paul.
Blew me away. But Chris Paul is really smart.
No, yeah,
really
he's a
good.
smart
So it
defender.
makes sense for him to be always positioned. Defense is all about positioning. Like
True.
LeBron is probably the most athletic players ever, but it's all commitment and positioning.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the guys who are really good at defense, it's all positioning. Dennis Rodman is a really great position guy.
Pat Bev.
Pat Bev, but Chris Paul that's the thing that nobody is really paying attention to
Well,
that they lose.
He also played only a certain amount of games, didn't play the whole season.
No, I agree. And the best ability is availability, right?
Facts.
But
Yeah.
this is the thing, right? It's like with the Warriors, right? The Warriors won't lose one step without losing KD in the regular season.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
That's the thing. They actually probably gonna be a little faster.
Yeah,
in the
they play a
regular
lot
season.
more
D-Lo, yeah,
up
'cause D-Lo
tempo.
gonna push
Remember
it
I
too.
told you this when we was at the other show, and I told you
Yeah.
they thought I was crazy. I'm like, the Rockets ain't gonna win the game.
No, remember you and I were
No,
on the
yeah,
same
yeah,
page.
yeah.
You and I
they
were on the
thought I
same
was crazy.
page.
And I'm like, it's game speed on the West Coast during regular season.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Pretty much all year, right? It's game speed. It's how fast you playing. Everybody's playing fast, right? Which concerns me with the Lakers because they have a very slow team at this
True.
point. It's a
And
tremendously slow
players
Their team
that
is
are
built-
injury prone and that have been known to go out with injuries.
But the Lakers are built for the playoffs when the game slows
Yeah,
down.
y'all said we said this last year.
Get a little more physical.
I think this is the thing, right? And
Let me hear it.
Just to talk about the Lakers. I think with the Lakers, so you have the history of LeBron James, right? LeBron James is the second best small forward in NBA history.
Thank you. Oh my God.
But he does have a chance to
That's
be
tough.
At the end of his career,
That's
he could
tough.
potentially do it, but he does. Bird did it better than LeBron because Bird did not have the athleticism and the gifts that LeBron's body does. He has the better court vision, the better handles, the better rebounding, and was a craftier scorer
He was
than
a much
LeBron.
more diverse scorer. Yeah, it's not even close. But again, LeBron James has made his case and has a chance to pass Larry Bird. It's right there for him, and he's had 300 more games to show it.
No,
You know,
yeah.
Once he retires, it's legitimate.
Well, no, it depends on what he does at this point. Like you have to achieve one more thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like
And that's
once
the
all is
challenge.
said, once all is said and done, then we can get back to that.
Because of right now, no, he hasn't passed it in real time. But this is the thing, right? The history of LeBron James with bigs, with skilled bigs.
Yeah, he changed his image
Non-existent.
to spot up shooters.
And it's like, So what I'm looking for with the Lakers, the first thing I'm looking at is in the first 20 games, if AD goes, his career high of shooting threes is I think 2.5 a game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2.5.
He ends up shooting 5 or 6, it's a wrap.
And that's what I'm looking at too. Like if that's what they're gonna do with him, I can tell you after, like you said, 20 games that the Lakers won't win. But if they actually say, AD, we need you on the block because this is going to be our advantage, you being down there and dominating there, then they have their chance.
Well, see,
So-
this is the problem with LeBron James. Well, not the problem. I'm sorry, because LeBron probably be like, G, just be on my shit. I don't, cuz that's not true. It's not true. I respect what your game is, and I'm just honest about it, right?
Yeah.
So do you want him to play center?
Who, AD?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's also the thing that he hasn't
doesn't
had.
wanna
He doesn't want to play center.
And
That-
LeBron has never had a legitimate big. He's had guys like Chris Bosh.
Yeah,
he's-
Shaq.
But those aren't the centers.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
Shaq.
saying. Like,
But I'm saying,
but you
when
guys said big.
But when people say a legitimate big, right? He doesn't want to play center. He's not a legitimate big.
No, yeah. He likes to
He's
shoot jump
actually-
shots. And,
Power forward, like
But he
small
was
forward, just in a
6'2".
big body.
yeah,
the thing.
he
That's
was
what he
6'2"
actually
and
is.
grew really fast. So
That's actually what he is. He's really a small forward in a big body.
yeah, in a big
Yeah,
body. Yeah.
He's got the handles. He's got the court vision. He's got the shooting.
So my thing is, right? So if you compromise him and make him play center, he's gonna be disgruntled. He doesn't want to play center.
You can put
power forward and then Cousins at center.
and that's why I think Boogie was a nice move because you can play Boogie with him to be like. So say if a moment in the game you can have LeBron out the game and they can kind of play how they were
I
in
think
New
that's a
Orleans.
fantastic situation when Rondo's on the court to have those two.
That's
Yeah.
the only
But
reason
this
why
is
it
the thing.
is.
And this is what I keep saying. There should never be more than 4 minutes on the court when Rondo and LeBron is on the court together,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
Because they both pretty much
They're the
all
same
down
guy.
replace each other, right?
Yeah.
But this is the thing, right? To keep a lane for LeBron James, a layup lane, a driving lane, that becomes the problem.
Yeah, it's
True.
that big spaced out all the way.
So now it's like, where do you have AD? And if you have JaVale McGee and Boogie playing on the other side of the rim, right? You probably not gonna get the best out of Boogie doing that.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, and he really is a big, and I think, like I said, those big guys playing so stretched, that's what hurts them. I
Yeah.
think that's what's happening to a lot of these 6'10", 6'11" guys is the
so
natural process of evolution hasn't happened to make them so limber enough to where they're doing that.
True.
You know
They're
what I
long
mean?
and lanky
Like,
guys.
it's barely happened to LeBron James,
Mm-hmm.
where he's the first guy 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", you know, that's like that.
Yeah,
That's not going to
primarily
get
a
hurt.
wing,
You know, what I
yeah.
mean, that can play from the perimeter down.
Mm-hmm.
But I think all of those big guys are injury prone because the human beings in the NBA haven't, the basketball players haven't evolved enough to where they can do that. So it just depends. And I think that's where you're going to, if AD go from shooting 2.5 career high threes a game to 5, the
Yeah, they're
Lakers
gonna be
is
in
in trouble.
See, that's what I've said about the Lakers. Like, they have a good team, right?
They have
on
good
paper,
personnel.
on paper, they
They got
have
personnel.
Yeah, no. Let's not take that away. They have good personnel. They've got a good team. The Clippers, though, are walking into the season with
Identity and better personnel.
identity, personality, coach that's won, players who are willing to buy in, a guy who just won on basically one leg.
Well, the key is identity, right? The Lakers don't have it. The Lakers' identity was always so for years, right? Doc Rivers and Jay West gave the Clippers an identity. They're a defensive team.
Yeah, defense.
You
Yep.
upgrade the defensive position.
Yeah,
It's obvious what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You feel me? But the problem is, right? Regular season, you won't. I don't think you'll see it as much as you would think you would see it because I think at
I
the
agree with
regular
that.
season becomes a very offensive, and they
Yeah,
got
the
better.
teams
there.
are scoring 130,
Yeah.
140, stuff like that.
And these coasts is a different game.
Mm-hmm.
But the Clippers are scary because if they can get Paul George to buy in and play in the power forward, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's gonna come down
At the
to.
four?
If he plays a 2 and below,
Oh, so you saying Beverly, Shamet, Kawhi, Paul George, and then
I mean, you could even
Montrezl.
put Beverly, Lou Will, then go Kawhi.
you can
you can swap them. Yeah,
You
yeah.
can swap it. So Lord knows if they get, Andre Roberson. So
They
you become a
signed
thing.
They signed Patterson too, and they have Zubac too, who can start.
Oh,
at
they signed
center.
Patrick Patterson?
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
But I think this is something else that's special, and you have to be mindful of it. And it happened to Paul George last year, where the West Coast is a faster game speed.
No, yeah.
So it's a lot more miles.
Yeah, true. A lot more
It's
wear
a
and
lot
tear.
more wear and tear on a player like Kawhi. It's a lot more wear and tear on players like Paul George.
And that's what scares me with Paul is because he hasn't been healthy
Adjusted to
the
this.
last,
Exactly.
few
in
years.
OKC, it was
Yeah.
very fast, and something looked like it happened to him in the postseason. But again, I always thought it was wrong to use him. I think it's wrong to constantly use these big old guys, even those guys. LeBron is a one of one because he is such a awesome perimeter figure and can,
Puts $1 million in his body, so that helped too.
Yeah, but I don't even.
That's the Brady
Yeah,
experience
that's
right there.
that's whatever.
All right, but we got to make our picks. All right, when it comes down to it in the playoffs, who makes it out? Lakers or Clippers?
Neither.
Who you got?
Um,
Who you got come out the West?
I don't know. I got the Clippers. My fear for them is health.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I just think health wise, I think the Lakers are gonna have issues because unless you can make LeBron James not play on the perimeter, then that means you're gonna compromise AD.
Yeah.
And that's gonna really be important.
I think the Lakers
AD.
gonna win because if they decide to dominate with the bigs and then the shooting they have, then they can win. But like you said, if they make AD play outside,
and I think they're
it's a
gonna
wrap.
compromise AD.
No,
If AD wants to probably have a level of compromise, like he wants to. So I don't think that's.
So
gonna
who you
really
got? Who
happen.
you got come out the West?
I don't know. I haven't been able to really think about it because it's right. Like what I think is, so the first three teams in the West is going to be Golden State, Denver, and
Clippers.
I think that's the first three teams.
Hey, I got to bet. Clipper Darryl, you will be wearing that Laker gear because the Lakers will come out and be better
it's
than the
not-
Clippers.
Let's just get Clipper Darryl on this show with you next time, Glasses.
I
because
school
wanna
Clipper
get
Darryl
this.
all the time. I school
Yeah.
Darryl all the time.
Pick a team.
Yeah.
You got to go with one.
West.
Just pick one.
Pick one. We got
I know.
man. Go with your heart, man. Go Lakers.
That would be a bad pick. That's a bad pick.
Damn, Mykell fucking up the studio already.
That's a bad pick.
That's how bad a pick
Can
it
I
is.
can I get one in the option? Like, can I get
One in the option.
One
yeah.
of these two?
One or
Yeah.
yeah.
Portland
Portland
or Golden State?
or Golden State. Oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah, Portland or Golden State. I think it's going to be rough for people. I think it's going to surprise everyone with Golden State how fast they're able to play during the regular season. And I think it's going to surprise everybody how important Steph,
crazy, yeah.
Clay, Steph, Clay, and Draymond is. I think it's going to really blow everyone's mind how good.
Yeah.
I think like people was talking about them winning like
People
45
were sleeping.
games.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no.
That's
I'm like, so
out of
you
my
have
mouth, that one.
you have Loden, feel me, who's stepping in for Clay offensively, which is a very formidable thing.
True.
Now,
Yeah.
defensively, it's not even close.
Tough, yeah.
But
Oh man.
formidably,
Oh,
how you
yeah.
doing? How you doing?
What's up, dude?
People, here we go.
Okay. Well,
So
I guess
yeah,
that's the card.
Portland or Golden
Golden
State
State.
come out the West.
Okay. Hey, so man, we thank you so much for joining us, bro.
So,
Glasses.
Glasses Malone. So make sure you guys check out the Tupac Must Die.
yeah, man, special.
You got to do it. You do it.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I was saying, Mykell. You keep talking too much.
No, yeah, I know. Bro, this is
Just like Glasses.
Podcast is so long though.
I'm excited.
I did
about
the
that.
Brilliant
This is my
Idiots
thing.
and they did a 3-hour podcast.
hours.
I'm like, bro, what is going on?
That's what they do. Rob and Chris shows 3 hours long, dog.
Oh,
Odd
yeah.
That shit long.
But if you pay attention to some of those shows, they do the like stupid contests, like where they give their opinions or something during the
Yeah.
show. So that like
I need to really do this shit. That's
Yeah.
funny. I need
I'm
to school
I'ma
both
plug
of
you.
them. Yeah.
So hey man, we thank you guys for tuning in. Our guy Glasses Malone, thank you for
Check
coming
out
out.
the new video, Tupac Must Die, man, everywhere.
Yes, sir. Hey, so make sure you guys check it out. Go check him out on the Breakfast Club. Check him out on all his
Tweet me,
interviews,
man. Instagram, man. Holla at me.
Hey, he will answer you, and he gonna have some crazy takes, but I think you guys will be able to handle it.
And they not that crazy. How right was I?
everything but Golden State and Portland.
No, he was right about his Toronto pick. So I gotta
No,
show
the
him
Golden
that.
State regular season thing I
Yeah.
see, but I'm talking about like in the playoffs, bruh.
Yeah. Hey, so don't at me. Make sure you check out Hans. Give him the IG, Twitter, man.
HYMESWORLD on Instagram and Alexander_Himes on Twitter. Guys, if you like what we're doing here, please give us a like and subscribe. And also, please check out all the podcast stuff that we're doing all over the web at The Good News Radio. And guys, thank you again for tuning into this episode of Don't At Me. Screw Mykell.
Hey, Mykell the PG. Y'all know y'all better check me out. Instagram, Twitter. I'm that guy, man. So you gonna love everything that I
Pornhub
got.
Mykell.
At G Malone on Twitter.
There we
Let's
go.
go, baby.
Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't at me. We are out.
What it
Peace.
do, baby?
Talk, fam. Talk, fam. Exactly. Where the facts be. I'm speaking right here, so don't at me, whoa.